In this video, we're looking at attacking the body, how to land more body shots and land them more effectively, and the number of factors that we have to consider when looking at this. First is range. Long range, mid-range, and short range. What are the most effective ways to set up and land body shots from each of the ranges? The next factor is placement. Where do you land the body shot on the opening when the opportunity occurs so that it has the most impact? The other factor that we have to consider is combos and setups. How do you use other tools in your boxing arsenal to set up body shots, to create openings so that you could land them? And the final factor we're going to consider is counters. How do you use what your opponent gives you so you can slip, block, and adjust and land more body shots and attack the body more effectively that way? Now, when looking at these factors, there are also other things that you want to consider why you would want to attack the body more often, why you want to make it more part of your boxing arsenal. First of all, over the rounds, attacking the body wears down your opponent. It has a cumulative effect as the rounds go on. Secondly, you can also use body attacks to set up headshots. So it's not just going one way where attacking the head is going to set up more body shots. Going down to the body gives you options to distract your opponent so you can come up top and land more headshots. Next is you might have an opponent who's excellent with head movement or excellent with a high guard, and you might have a hard time landing. And so attacking the body gives you more options and more openings that way. And finally, when working towards the body, it makes your opponent hesitate. When they're throwing, creating those openings in your landing, it's going to make your opponent think twice about what they're throwing because they're dealing with the body shots that you're landing as you counter. Now, after working through all the drills and concepts in this video, I'm confident that not only will you be landing more body shots and landing them more effectively, but you'll be improving your overall boxing offense. So in this first section, we're going to be looking at long range attacks. And the two primary attacks from long range are going to be the jab and the straight right hand to the body, sometimes the right hook coming around. Now, the main thing with the long range attack is that you are stepping to your opponent. Often you are stepping to your opponent and you are clearing out the distance again. You're not staying in there to work, although that is an option. So when we're looking at long range, it's not necessarily a fine line of long or mid, it's sort of an area of gray, but in general, we're gonna say that you are stepping to your opponent to land the shot. Now, a few things with the jab. There are a number of places you can land that jab on the body. Primarily, it depends whether the opponent is throwing and whether there's an opening or not. If the opponent is throwing their jab, ideally, you can go high right on the solar plexus here or right on the ribs underneath that jab. Attacking the body with the jab is also a great way to get underneath punches and set up other shots, as we'll go through a number of examples here. If your opponent doesn't throw anything, you can still aim above the belt line, above the trunks, right down here in the lower abdomen. It's not going to be as effective or have as much impact on your opponent, but it's still something to land. They're going to know that you landed it. Even if there was no opening and you hit the elbows, it's still going to tighten up their guard and you can set up other shots with that. So let's just go over breaking it down, then we'll go over a number of examples on the bag of how you can work this jab and how you can use some variations and feints to set up a whole bunch of shots. First thing that I want to do when I'm going in to set up this jab is I want to lower my level. So I don't want to come in like this with my head high. That's always going to be a problem. My chin is out, even if it's down, my head is open. Plus, I've limited my range here. If I drop down, since I'm going right across, since I'm parallel with the ground, I have a little more range. If I was to come up like that, then I lose my range. So getting down and low is going to give you a little more range. It's also going to get your head out of the way. So the first thing that you would work is from your long range, you just step in with the lead foot and touch with that jab, touch, touch. Now, one main factor that you want when landing with that jab is you want your chin tucked and your hands to ride along so that your head is protected. So you don't want this, you don't want this. So you want to get comfortable with that. You can always check in the mirror to make sure that you've got this right. So here I go, step in, touch, and drive through, and then come back. If I want to go from further range, I can use this back foot to pull in here, and then drive down as I go down. Essentially, my levels will be lowering as I'm throwing the shot. I don't want to lower first and then go. That's going to telegraph. I lower as I come in, or I bring the back foot, and then I drive down. Again, aiming for the lower abdomen, solar plexus if you got it, or even the upper ribs if your opponent throws a jab or hook, you can get underneath there. Now, once you start to work that lowering effect, that's going to allow you to set up headshots, some more openings. So for example, as I lower, I can still throw high, like so. So I can go low and throw high, like so. So going low and going high, you can go high with the jab, low with the body. This is where you can start to fake out your opponent. The other thing you can do with your levels is, instead of going low or coming in high with the straight jab, you can start to set yourself right in the middle, play with it, pop, pop, pop. You can sort of set your levels in the middle so they're harder to read. And this way, not only are you going to be laying the body shots by coming through, but it'll be less predictable what you're throwing and when you're throwing. And I'm going to give you a few more examples on the bag at full speed working this. Okay, so we're looking at landing the jab on the body. Again, straight through. If I'm here, I can just step in, and that's going to just drive the bag, drive my opponent straight through. Especially if the opponent throws a jab, there's an opening for me, I can come right under that jab and land that shot. Again, as I start working low, I can start to go low and throw high. And that's an excellent way to start working your level changes as fakes. Using the body shots to not only land them, but also to set up headshots so you become less predictable. I fake low, or I stay in the middle, I go low, and then I throw high. Now, number of different combos that you can use to set up body shots. The body shot doesn't always have to be the first thing you throw. It can be the beginning, it can be the last shot, or it can be somewhere in the middle. So the first thing, one of my favorite is, just go with a double jab. That sets up other offense. I'm gonna go low, high with the double jab. I go here, I bring the hand halfway back, low, this gets me inside, high, and then I can follow up with other punches. So using the body shot to land, close the gap, and set up other shots. Regardless if you're a taller or a shorter fighter, depending on the height of the person, this is still effective. Even if you're taller, you can still drop this to the upper part of the chest or the solar plexus without charging in too hard to get your opponent to drop their guard, give them something else to think about. Again, setting up other shots. As your opponent is trying to deal with this jab, not only are you going to set up the double jab, but you can set up a whole multitude of other shots. One of the best is the right hand. So here, if you're going to go, you go low with the jab, you may mess around with it, you go low, and then you come upstairs with the right hand. Bring their guard down with that jab to the body, come up top with the right hand. Here, and then you come over top with the right hand. You can also work the overhand right, same idea. I go down and loop the overhand right, or you can loop it this way, a little bit wider. You're going down, going low to high, setting up that shot. Same thing can work the other way. You're gonna go low, high, and then you can set up a shot to the body following the jab. So I go here, low, high, right hook to the body. So the jab is also setting up further body shots as you go. Low, high, low. To go over it again. Body, head, hook. I work it fast. And setting up body shots with the right hand, starting with the jab. Another one of my favorite that I like to use is working the jab to the body to get inside, come around with the left hook up top. So I go low here, this gets me inside, I come up to my regular height, I don't want to come up too high, I just come up to my regular height, and then bring the left hook around. Often, because the hand that deals with the jab and defends the jab is the same hand that blocks the left hook, which is the opponent's right hand, often you can get them busy by going low with the jab and then coming around with the hook and creating the opening. So this is another one of my favorites that land effectively. Even though the body tack isn't the main point of this combo, the body tack sets up the headshot. So here I go in, and then come upstairs with the left hook. All based on that concept of what I was doing earlier. I could have been going low, going high, and then I go low, high, and then come up with the hook. So with the long range, you're not only looking to land the shot, but to set up other shots. You are stepping into your opponent to set up this jab and then to follow up with your other combos. Working the long range jab, lowering your levels to go high, going low to go high, going low, high to go low, and working the same side with the same hand to not only make yourself less predictable, land the shots, but also set up more offense up top. So the next aspect that we're going to cover from long range is the long range right hand, most often the straight right. Sometimes you can work a hook in there depending on how close you are and how you adjust it. It'll be a long range hook, but you'll be stepping in to throw the right hand. Of course, again, the right hand doesn't necessarily mean you have to lead with the right hand. You could still set it off with a jab up top. It's all going to depend on how you adjust the distance, but we're going to just sort of isolate this so you understand this component all on its own. My favorite reason to go with the right hand lead to the body is when someone is throwing a check hook as I'm coming in. So as I'm coming in, they are hooking me. And so me being up high, either I'm blocking it and taking it or I'm getting hit, or I have to make a separate move to get under it. So what I really like to do is just throw my offense right away as I get below the shot. That's one of my favorites, but you can also use it just as a straight setup to get in and set up more offense. So here I am in front of my opponent. Again, I have to take a little step. I step in, and I'm gonna land that here on the large ribs, right below the pec, right on the upper body, on the ribs. But that's only if they're throwing. If they're throwing, I'll have that opening there. If they're not throwing, the elbow and forearm might be in the way, so then I might have to go lower here, like so. If I've got the range and I get in close enough with my step, I can hook it around, and that might get me around as well. And again, all of these can come off the jab. Up top, the right hand straight is going to be a little bit tight if you're going to throw it off a straight jab here, but I can always throw one to the gloves, just a touch, boom, and come down underneath. Now there are a number of things I like about the right hand, not just by itself, but what you can do with it for following punches. So here, I come under, I'm going to step either straight. If I want a little bit of an angle, a little more safety, I can step out. And that's going to get my head off the center line. We'll get more into that later, how that's going to help you. But ideally, as I step in, I let my levels change. I get low. Even if I'm tall and I'm fighting somebody shorter, I'm going to get low and protect my chin, protect my head. Right here to throw that either underneath the shot or just to use it to set things up. So what can I do off of this right hand? There are a number of things. One is set up the left hook up top. I go down low, I come in, boom, and then I set up that shot up top. The other thing that I like to do is use it as a solo shot to get out. I get out here to create an angle. All that is a shift with my feet. I go here, under, and then I can come with more offense. The other thing that starts to happen, like with the jab, is as you change your levels and start to work certain attacks off the level change, your opponent starts to see a level change as that attack, but it doesn't have to be. So for example, you might come low, body shot. You come low again, body shot. And then you step a little bit deeper and you come up over top. That's one of my favorite for using the level change and the body attacks to not only land downstairs, but to set up shots up top. So I might come in low to start, boom, come in low, and next I come up high, boom, and then follow up with more shots. I'm going to do a few examples on the bag just so you can see it at a little bit faster pace. Okay, so setting up the right hand from long range, just going to allow you to see it more full speed. The main thing is I want to lower my levels, tuck my chin. The problem with the right hand lead is it can be a very effective shot, but often when you're turning like this, you're open for a right hand coming straight at you as well as you turn to that shot. So often you want to set up with a jab or a quick hand up top just to distract, and then you can go in. So I'm going to go with the straight right. Again, I step in, I lower my level, and then I let the shot go. Here, I can touch up, nice and quick just to distract. Depending on my range, I don't want to be too far out. Sure, I could hit the person from here, but they're going to see that coming. It's a real lunge. So I want to find that nice speedy range where it's just a quick step, I lower, and I go. Again, if the opponent is not throwing, I'm probably going to want to come around with the hook. So I might need to take my step a little bit further to the left, give me a little more distance in, and bring that hook around. You have to test it to see what's working for you. Here I come in, and then hook around to the ribs, right on the side here, even with the side of the body, whatever I can get. And again, the right hook to the body is going to set up a nice left upstairs. As I start lowering my levels, again, often the opponent thinks that every time you lower, it means you're going to go downstairs. So you use that to mix it up, come upstairs instead. I go low, body shot. I go low, body shot. Then I come up top instead. And then I have other openings here for more body shots on the side. And again, if you want to use it as a solo technique, you can use it to get out with your feet. You go here, under, boom, 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 boom. Also as well, like with a lot of long range shots, if you are in control of that range, you may want to just stay back out. So here you throw the right hand, and then you come back out. Same with the jab earlier, you could do the same thing, and then come back out if you're really controlling the long range. This is going to be a little bit different from when you're right here at medium, or when you're right in close. There are less options, but you're able to control the distance instead of different kinds of shots, especially using straight punches from that long range. So with the right hand, use it to attack the ribs, to come under the check hook, to set up angles, and also use the level change to keep your opponent guessing on whether you're going low or whether you're coming up top. So before we get into the mid-range attacks, mid-range essentially means that all shots can hit the opponent. You don't have to step in. I do want to cover a little bit on body shot theory, or attacking the body theory, in terms of where to land the shots. Now, there are a number of places that you can land the shots very effectively that are going to have the most impact in terms of doing damage. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only place you want to land. If you have an opponent with long forearms and a great guard, you sometimes are just going to take what you can get. Your opponent is going to know that you're landing on them. They're going to feel it. If they throw, you might not get that perfect rib shot, because as the elbow comes back, this upper arm is protecting the upper ribs quicker. There's still space here. You might only get this, or you might only get a lower portion of the body. So sometimes you have to take what you can get. But one way to understand for your own self where the impact lies is to just lightly hit your own body and check your own body. You can feel what's going on. As you, let's say you take one side and you start tapping, you can feel certain spots, let's say right on your lower ribs on the outside. I can feel the wind being knocked out of me just a little bit. I can feel that. And as I get lower into my abdomen, into the muscle wall, then I can start to feel a little bit tougher. It may hurt, but I have a little more durability there. As you come up top and hit higher, You'll just feel a big rib right here. This is where a lot of bruising happens. Often a knuckle will come through, you can glance it, a knuckle will come through the glove and hit this rib. So even though it's a strong rib and it hurts, it doesn't damage the same way as the smaller ribs, but there's a lot of bruising right there. A knuckle will come right through. And you can check to see where you're vulnerable. On the front, you're pretty okay, upper, and then once you get in here in the center, you can feel the solar plexus. You can feel the wind being knocked out of you a bit. You can tell that that's a sensitive spot. And as you get lower, you can feel that your abdomen can take a beating there. It's much stronger. So you not only can understand body shots by hitting your opponent, but also just by understanding your own body. And you can start to feel where the weaknesses and the openings are. So, and the angles for that. So as we get into attacking the body, sometimes you will get that upper rib shot. If the opponent is throwing, you'll be able to time it just right. But if not, you're going for the lower ribs. And if you can't even get that, then you're still going to settle for something along the body, along the muscle wall, the obliques, or the abdomen. If you're going up the center, ideally you want the solar plexus, but often there are elbows in the way there, so sometimes you're going to have to get the lower abdomen. It's still going to count. The judges are still going to recognize it. It's still a sport of boxing, so it is effective. And again, you're going to use that to land other shots up top. It's not the only thing that you have to consider when landing body shot. It's just to do pure damage. Also as well, not every body shot has to be a full-out laced shot to do the maximum damage. Sometimes opponents can take these shots well, and you don't want to put all your energy into one shot. As long as you're landing it with something good, you can follow up with more stuff up top. That's the key right there. So you almost don't want to stop to judge or assess whether your body shot is super effective or not. You're just going to go on with regular boxing. If the openings occur, then you're going to go for them. A couple other concepts on landing effective body shots. Some you're going to use, depending on the situation, is try not to look. I mean, sometimes you're going to look. If you're right down there, you're going to look. But try not to lose your vision from your opponent overall. Often what happens is you give yourself away. You go here, and then you look, or you look down. And if you look down, you don't know you're doing it, the opponent knows you're going for the body shot. Of course, you can always look down and then go high if you're slick enough to pull something off like that, where you sort of look and the opponent catches that look and then you come up top. But be careful to always look, not to always look where you're going to go here and then look with your eyes, or here, even if you're in close, you're going to throw here. You ideally want to keep your eyes focused instead of looking like this. These are little things that are going to cue your opponent. So try to avoid those where you can. You want the timing to be quick. Bop, bop. Keeping your vision in that same spot where you can see everything that's going on without necessarily having to take your eyes and look. Another concept that's important for landing the body shots is speed and timing. Sometimes when you're throwing two shots quick, they don't have as much power on them because your hands are just going as quick as they can. You haven't had time to really load and build. So it's a trade-off here between speed to land the shot, to catch the opening, versus power to get more effect into that shot. So for example, if I throw and I load this elbow back nice, boom, I might get the best body shot, or I might go here, bam, bam. But the shots are often coming a little bit slower than if I'm here, bam, bam, with my elbow right in tight and I release, boom, 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 boom. So depending on what's working for you in the situation, sometimes you have time, boom, to really load that shot and catch it. But if you find your opponent is working excellent defense in tight, you're really probably gonna have to pick up your hand speed to really land that shot, or not even really think about it too much. Just make it part of your overall combo. You're going upstairs, body shot, boom. Whenever you're putting everything into one side, which we'll cover later, up top, if you're putting in everything, it's gonna be harder to come back down. If you're putting in everything down here, boom, it's harder to come back up. So you have to decide where you want the power to be, whether it's going to be in the body shot or up top, and that's all going to depend on what's going on in the sparring or in the fight and where you see the openings. So before going further into the technique, these are some concepts to consider when landing and throwing body shots. So in this section, we're working on the mid-range, and mid-range is just a general sort of way that I'm going to call these combos generally you don't have to take any further steps to land the body shot. You're already in full range, and you can throw any punch, straight hooks, uppercuts, everything. When we get to the close range, it's sort of along the same lines, but it's a little bit tight for straight punches. Now, there are a few things conceptually that we're going to cover. One is landing the body shot in terms of high and low. The other thing is what you're going to do with your feet and what you're going to do with your head. We're looking at safety versus speed and how that often plays out with your footwork and landing these body shots. So, for example, just to cover the first example, we're going to go up top and come down low. 1-2 shovel hook to the body or uppercut to the body. First combo, I'm going to step in on my jab, 1-2, and here's the body shot. I'm going for the liver right here, right up underneath the arm, or whether the arm is there or not. I'm just going to try to dig it right inside. Now, generally, if I want speed, really I just want my body to twist as I throw that. I don't want to do too much extra stuff. I want to keep them busy upstairs and then come down with the body shot and dig it in. So here I go. Now, the placement of your footing is going to matter for a few things that happen. So first of all, if I come in straight here, I often are going to get more speed in throwing those shots. I step right in, pop, pop, pop. Everything is right in place. The problem is after I throw that shot, my head is still there. So if I don't move or do something, then I can easily get countered. And that's basically what I want to make sure that I plan for. After I throw that body shot, boom, to cover. Or after I throw that body shot, to have another headshot ready to keep busy. Or here, boom, 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 to keep my opponent busy. So the first concept is, as you're stepping in straight to throw that body shot, make sure you either cover quick or you come with more shots to keep your opponent busy. The other option is move your head and you can move. We're not going to get into that today. If you really dig the body shot hard, it's going to take more time to come up top on the same side or here with the other side. So just keep that in mind. It's only a slight fraction of time, but it does matter. If you throw the body shot quick, your body's going to be in a much easier position to continue to throw. So you sort of have to decide whether you're putting all your money into that shot or not. But the general concept here is high. Start high, you're in range. Go low, either cover and move, cover, or follow up with more headshots. If you're going to follow up with more headshots, the harder you threw that body shot, it's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit more time to get that extra punch off. Now, if I want safety, a little more safety, one of the things that I'm going to do is get my head out of the way as I throw the lead up to the body shot. So for example, here I go 1-2. Now I also took a little step out, but it's not an exaggerated step. It's more my head that I'm looking to get out. 1-2. I slip to get my head outside of the shoulder, get them outside of my opponent's range, and then here I can set up the body shot and continue to work. So the next concept is when throwing the body shots, you're going to get your head out of the way, out of the center line before you fire it. Here. So the advantage to this, getting your head out of the center line, is less chance of you get caught coming in, harder to get caught after you throw it. The disadvantage to getting your head off the center line is that if you do it too many times with a body shot, you're going to cue your opponent. They're going to sort of get an idea and know that, okay, every time you're coming in like that, they kind of know what you're going to do. Also, opponents, as you get your head off the center line, can start to block and counter you with uppercuts. There are ways to counter that as well. So keep in mind that coming in straight or coming in with the head slip, they're slightly different. The slip is going to give you a little more safety, but it's going to cue your opponent. The next one is taking the step, which I've already taken a little bit of a step to the outside, but here we're going to exaggerate a little bit more. That's going to sort of give you an angle to get more room to land and throw that shot. It's going to keep you safer, but again, it's going to cue your opponent. So here I throw straight. I didn't really slip or get my head down. I'm still pretty upright, but look at my foot. It's right out here. I'm looking from this side, as opposed to here, slipping or coming in straight, I'm here, bam, I'm outside. And that's going to allow me to see a little bit more. I might be able to get my hand in a better position to land better body shots there as I have this little bit of an angle. Again, the downside is that my opponent sees that I've stepped. It costs me a little bit of time to take that step, so they can easily just spin out and take off and block it if I'm not quick enough. I go here, I step on the 1, 2, 1, bam, and then here, body shot. And this could be a 1 hook, it can be anything, as long as you're going out this way and giving yourself the angle here. If your opponent doesn't move, what's nice about this step out is that it leads to a second angle where you can pivot off safely and continue your attack. So that's one thing I like about the stepping out, is if your opponent stays where they are, it enables you to set up further offense. So here I go, I step out, and then I can step out and throw again. If I go slow here, 1, 2, body shot, I can throw as I pivot if I want, boom, and then set up more offense going to the left. So for this next combo, similar concept, I just want to give you guys another example where I'm going to be working and then dipping to the right, working all those same concepts to the right. So we'll just go over it quickly. Here I could be 1, 2, 3, or I could just be 2, 3 for simplicity. Right here, and I'm going to set this right uppercut to the body. So I go here, and set up that right uppercut to the body. That's working with my upright position, going high to low, general concept of setting up the body shot. Going high to low. Now if I want a little more safety, I'm going to bring the head down as I throw the hook, just to get it out of the way of the center line. Here, boom, boom. It's not much, I'm just sort of tucking. And then here, my body shot will be a little bit tight. The room is tight, but at least my head is out of the way. Like so. So here. So that's one way you can work to the right, getting your head out of the way. The other one is, I'm going to take a step for more safety. Here, on this angle. And then I'm going to have more room on that side. And that also sets me up the middle here, if I want. So I'm going to take that step on the hook as I go. Could be 1, 2, could be 2, small step, just to create the angle. Again, the step cues the opponent, but now I'm safer over here. Body shot, or body shot, headshot. I go faster, and then set that up as I go in. So general concept with working these combos, come up top to go down low, use the head movement for a little more safety, but your opponent can read it, also can counter it, so you gotta work the situation. Take the step to get the angle. Keeps you safe, but also cues your opponent, but also allows you, as you get that angle and throw, to continue to throw to set up more offense. So the next concept behind landing body shots at the mid-range has to do with rhythm. Not always are you going to just throw everything in one shot. You want to create the opening. Part of creating the opening is having a delay, giving your opponent a chance to throw back. One of the best ways you can do that is by moving your head between combos. If you are a taller opponent, you don't necessarily have to move. You can always pull back, boom, 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 pull back. Or just throw, cover, and then throw again. It's breaking the rhythm to give your opponent a chance to throw so that you can access the opening. One of the most common examples is to throw, slip to the outside, and throw. So here's an example. I step in, like so, I slip, and then I throw. It's gonna go 1, slip, 3. If I want, I can already step my foot out there to create the angle. Or if I need to close the distance, I can step in hard, straight, and use my head to dip. If I'm a taller opponent, I'm here, and I can just take a small slip, or I can come in, cover, and then throw. I just want to break up the rhythm If I have an opponent who's an aggressive counterpuncher, I want them to throw something. I want to be able to feed off of what they're throwing. If I want to go to the right side, similar idea. Throw, slip, body shot. 1, 2, slip, body shot. Same idea, I can also work it if I'm a taller opponent, don't want to dip low like that, I just work it off a step. 1, 2, step, body shot, body shot. The idea is breaking up the rhythm. Throw, get to the outside, and throw. I throw, outside, throw. I throw, outside, throw. Now, one of the more effective ways to break up that rhythm that is less common, a lot of boxers don't use this, but it's very effective, is to throw and dip inside and throw. So, for example, instead of 2, slip out, body shot, I'm going to go 2, dip in. So it's sort of a dip. I sort of almost roll and dip in the same direction of my shot. 1, 2, dip. Because often what happens is the opponent will block a right hand with their left and counter. They'll block, counter. So you want to get on the inside of that counter. That way you have options for different patterns that your opponent has. I come in, 1, 2, dip, body shot. Same thing if I want to go to the left, 1, 2, 3. Instead of moving on the 3, I stay up tall. Give them a chance to think that there's something there. 1, 2, 3, dip. Boom, body shot. So let me just work those on the bag to give you an example at faster speed. So first example is to throw, slip outside and throw, break up the rhythm. Here I go. Same idea, I just want to get stuff flying by me, punches flying by my head, and then dig to the body underneath those shots. Here I go. And then while I'm on the outside there, I can use the stuff that we talked about earlier, creating the angles. I'm coming in with the head shot, so I'm already at the mid-range. I get my opponent to throw. I can go 1, 2, 3, and then it doesn't have to be the jab. The whole idea is that the last punch is going to be the same side you slip to, that's the outside. Same with here, I go 1, 2, I get low. I might want to step to create a little bit of an angle as well. Or dip, like so. But the second one we covered, it's very effective. One of my favorite is a dip on the inside. Same, the opposite side that you threw the shot, or sort of go with your flow. So for example, to break it down really simple, I throw the 2, and then I dip left. I don't want to go too far, just a comfortable little dip. Let shots fly over me, and then here. One great boxer to watch that does a lot of this is James Toney. I see a lot of examples of James Toney working this. 1, 2, dip, and then body shot. All I want to do is create that break. The dip is about the length of the time of a punch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same with when I want to dip to the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I let that dip be 1 beat. I can go 2, 3 and dip. Same idea. Dip, like so. All I want to do is create that little bit of a break so that there's stuff happening. And then of course I can go back and forth both ways. If I hear, keep working to the outside and working to the inside, breaking up the rhythm. So when you're at the mid-range, get in there with the head shots. You can even start with the body shots, but as soon as you're in a range, use the dips outside, off the left, outside, to attack the body, off the right, outside. And also get comfortable with working, dipping inside, left, left, dip inside, and the right. And with breaking the rhythm, you're gonna get your opponent to throw, you won't be there, you'll have a much higher chance of landing body shots. So one of the major concepts that has to do with rhythm on the mid-range to land more body shots, and this is probably the most effective tool that I've used for landing more body shots, is just to double and triple up on the same side, keep your opponent busy up top on the same side, practically in the same place, to alert them so they get their guard up and then go for the body shot. And of course, once you get into that pattern, you don't just go for the body shot, you use that to set up openings up top, same idea. So here I am at the mid-range. I can start with a straight right or whatever my combo is, and then I'm gonna work hook, hook. It could be a double or a triple. Boom, boom. And then I go for the body shot. Boom, boom. Dig that body shot down low or triple. I go here, right hand, pop, pop, pop. What you want for the double and tripling up on the same side is to not use all your energy in those early shots. Otherwise, it'll be slow and you'll have nothing by the time you get to the body shot. Effective enough to keep your opponent covered and dig. And if you want a little bit of safety again, you could take that step. And you could take that step on the hook if you want. So here I go, 1, 2, and then step, boom. Or here, 1, 2. It's a little bit of practice to get that timing down. I took the step on the hook, sort of almost like I'm pushing my opponent over. Still hitting, but sort of the idea. Working that side with the step, or if you're in a strong position, you don't have to work the step. And dig that body shot. Now again, if your opponent starts to read you and is blocking it, then you go high, low, high. Head, body, head. And that's where you work. And that's where this body shot does not have to be hard for it to achieve its purpose. You're just trying to get your opponent thinking. The up shot, the first one is hard enough to keep them busy, to keep them distracted. Boom, light. And then you come back up top with your real shot, and then you can move and do whatever. Now the same idea can be done off the right side, but it's harder based on your position to recoil your body to throw. But I find you can still at least get 2 good shots off. 1 low, 1 high, working the same side. So here, one of my favorite that I've used quite a bit, but still takes a little bit of practice to get the speed. If you don't work it, you'll lose the speed, but once you work it, you'll get the rhythm, is to go low and recoil that into a high shot. Get them to block here. Let the hand come halfway back, and then come right over top with the second one. So here you can set that up with a jab, jab, body shot, head shot. And again, the body shot doesn't have to be the hardest shot. Earlier I could have been going full out, bam, bam. And now I got my opponent thinking, so then I'm gonna go low, light, and come hard up top. Boom, light, hard. Same idea from right, high to low. I go here, boom, boom. It's similar to what we did earlier with that combo. Boom, boom, boom. Or 1, 2. And if I want a little more safety, I take a step. Like so. So working double and triple off the same side is going to enable you to land more shots, keep your opponent busy. Go light but effective enough in order to dig that body shot. If you're going to come back upstairs, just go light here, or moderate, bop, boom. Give you juice to come upstairs. Work the same concept to the right, but I find 2 punches is enough. It's hard to get off 3, right, from that position, unless you're in a southpaw stance. So you're going to work here. Body, head, or head, body. And this is another excellent way to land body shots or to use body attacks from the mid-range. So when throwing body attacks from the mid-range, you may not be setting everything up yourself or starting with your own shots. You may be working off of something your opponent throws and countering. And almost anything is possible in boxing, but there are some things that I find I go to more that are a little bit safer, they're a little bit higher probability. Simply enough is head movement, just working off the slip. These are some ways that you can work it. I'll give you some of the most common examples. Here again, if the opponent throws the right hand, I can slip outside. That's typically what I'm going to do, is slip outside and throw underneath. And all I really want is to get that timing quick before he brings his hand back. So usually what I will do if I want more speed is I just dip quick and throw. Now sometimes that's hard depending on where your opponent's throwing. A quick dip, they might still glance you. So you might want to take a step if you have time, but you have to see whether you can work that step in there or not. Opponent throws the right hand, slip, and then I go. Opponent throws the right hand, slip, and then you go. Now another one that's very effective, we watch Sugar Ray Leonard or James Toney as well, is slipping inside off the right hand to throw the uppercut body shot. But usually that means you're going to be more in a side-based position. You're going to dip and throw it. So it's not necessarily going to be when you're in the squared up or even maybe in your typical orthodox stance. It depends on whether you're comfortable enough and have the balance to pull it off. But generally, I'm going to dip my body, knees and back together. As the right hand comes, I just got to get low enough. Here's my head, it's aiming towards my chin. I get low enough. I want to be on good balance. I don't want to be here. I'll be off balance. So I sort of want to dip, boom, and then throw that uppercut body shot. The problem with this as well is if they've just thrown the right and I've countered with the right, now I'm open for their left, which is free. So you got to be really careful with this. As you dip and counter, you want to cover after, or dip, counter, and roll off of your momentum this way. So it's one of those shots that's a little bit risky, one of those counters that's a little bit risky, but if you're good at it and can work it, it's very effective and it's actually very common in boxing. So here from this side angle, right hand comes, I want to get underneath it, throw and then come back, or underneath it and roll, or if I'm going to throw another punch, I got to make sure this right is back here quick before I follow up with my next punch. So working head movement, slipping the right hand outside, slipping inside. Off the jab, throwing the body shot is a little bit tough. You really need some speed. So sometimes if the jab is coming, you can get outside and work it again off the outside. But I usually think the best way is when the jab is coming to do what we covered earlier, which is a throw at the same time. So the jab comes and then bam, you throw right away, or boom, throw right away like we discussed earlier. Now throwing the body shots off a block. Typically I don't want to lead with a body shot because it doesn't really offset my opponent, doesn't really throw off their balance or their force coming forward. It means that if they throw a right hand, I block it, and then I go right into a body shot, I'm often just opening myself up for their left, which is coming next. Usually what I want to do again is throw upstairs, counter upstairs first to sort of offset them if I'm going to land, boom, and then I can follow up with a body shot. So working the body shots off a counter, off a slip, it works nice on the one time. But if I'm going to work it off blocks, I usually want to go to the head first, be sure that I'm safe or that I'm offsetting my opponent, and then go downstairs. So a typical pattern would look like this. If I block their right hand or their 1-2, I catch the jab, block the right hand, I'm going to go up top and then come to the body. Or I can go up top and then come to the body. So general concept with blocking, I feel if the opponent is coming up top, you want to answer with a headshot and then go down the body. So first, block, or the other side, block, so up and then down low. Typically, if I'm going to block up top and then counter straight with a body shot, their momentum is coming towards me. They might be continuing to throw. That other hand is free to hit me straight on. So these are the sort of patterns that you want to look into, countering at the mid-range. Head movement, one-time slips, blocking, block first, answer to the head, and then go downstairs, and then get out or follow up with more shots. So when working on the inside, similar to the mid-range, the targets are pretty much the same, but the situation is a little bit different. Typically, you're in so close, there isn't really room for straight shots. You're working hooks and uppercuts. The second part is that it's harder to see punches coming at you, so you're going more by feel, and you're also creating those openings. The other aspect to being on the inside is that either your opponent is up against the ropes, you are up against the ropes, or you're both committed to being there, and that commitment creates different opportunities and different ways to work and set up shots. The first thing that you want to do with working on the inside and setting up body shots, which is something you got to do on your own, is you just got to get comfortable with throwing power from in close. So I recommend every workout, you spend a couple rounds on the bag where you're uncomfortably close and you have to generate power from short range. Work on that short range, generating power. Get comfortable with throwing from right here and just using a little bit of room, even just a little bit of room to generate power. The next concept that you're looking at when working on the inside is that the arms, the guard is like pillars. Usually the guard is like this, or the guard is a Philly shell. With the Philly shell, you have the overhand right coming up over top. You have to try to time that. It's a little bit different. But generally, you're working outside to up the middle to the outside, around to the body. So you got here, around to the body, around up top, and up the middle. So typical combos that I'm going to use are, I'll go to the body to start, even if I don't land. Boom, boom, to tighten up the guard, to come up the middle. Or I might go around, up the middle, come around the outside up top, bring the guard up, and then boom, land those body shots down low. So however you like to work it, everything that we covered earlier, doubling and tripling up on the same side, boom, it still works if you can generate power from in close. But you'll often have to try to get your opponent to shift their guard high and low, in tight and out. If I'm here, I'm covered high, or I'm covered low, or I'm covered up the middle, or I'm more covered on the side, or I'm dipping. These little adjustments are going to be what you're looking for. So a few examples that you can use to land more body shots on the inside, especially once you're comfortable with the concept of coming around and coming up the middle, are to take small steps and to create angles while throwing. So for example, if I'm on the inside here, room is very tight, I'm going to work the outside and come up the middle. I can also take a step and throw to create a little bit of angle to give me a little bit more space. Here I can step and throw the overhand right or a short shot over top, and that's going to allow me to see more room for the body shot here. If I'm working, I take that little step to create the angle on the inside, and then I can get out this way. Same thing here, if I'm working on the inside, I can go this way as I throw. As I throw here to create the angle and get that body shot from the inside, taking a step to the side while throwing to create that angle and set up the shot. So here as I go, I'm working, tight shot, boom here, and then I can turn. Working the other way, here, I use the left to step right, and then I throw. All I'm doing is stepping out to create space and keeping my opponent busy up top. Another way you can work the angles on the inside to get up the middle is to do a little inside switch step. So from here I'm working, I'm going to take this back leg, place it behind me to give myself a little bit of space. Here, and then I land the body shot this way. On the other side here, I'm working. Here I take this left foot, and then I can step the body shot on the inside. I also have this angle here to throw. So two different ways you can use footwork from in close and create angles. One is the step out, working, step out, work with a little bit more space, or inside switch step. Here, I take this back leg and throw, or this back leg here, and then I throw to set up the body shot and the angle there. So when working on the inside, creating offense, again, like we discussed earlier, you're coming around the outside high or low and up the middle. There is no perfect combo. You have to see what works for you, but generally, around the outside high, low with the body shot. Low around the outside, up the middle. Up the middle, around, and then low. Mixing it up so that you're less predictable. When you're on the inside, you can create space and create angles with a small step to give you a bit of room. Or you can switch your feet on the inside to give you more room. Or here, to give you more room, create angles so that you can work and land more body shots either up the middle or around while on the inside. So when you're on the inside, counters will be a little bit different. The opportunities will be a little bit quicker. Stuff is happening very fast. So I'm going to show you a few ideas and concepts for countering on the inside. Often when you're countering on the inside, you're squared up and snug in your position. So your counters are going to work off of your defense off of the same side. And this is where you can sort of go straight to a body shot or a head shot and a body shot. Again, the whole concept on the inside is around and up the middle, around, up high, down low. All of that still applies. But if you wanted to go straight for a body shot, there are a number of ways you can do it. First here, if I'm in straight like so, and the attack comes on this side, a lot of the defense on the inside is by feel. It's too close to really read and see a whole bunch of punches. You're looking at your opponent's upper chest, and you're sort of getting a feel for what's coming off of your elbows and your gloves. Of course, you can move a little bit on the inside to adjust for the way you see your opponent turning. But from here, the shot comes off this side, I can go straight, counter to the head, or here, counter to the body, right low, and then just continue on with my work. If the opponent finished their last punch in their combo with a right, that's going to hit my left, then I can follow up straight away with a body shot or go into whatever it is I'm doing. If the last punch they threw was a right, I know that the right side is open, so immediately as soon as I feel that, I'm going to fire off the left. As well, again, I can also take a little dip, blocking while I sort of set up power in that shot. Or again, even earlier while I'm blocking, I can create space and just go for it. Wait for that to be the last shot that I feel. I can move while I'm on the inside. If the opponent throws a left as the last part of their combo, my right goes straight to the body, and then I can just continue to throw. I block here with my left, and then I come up top. I start with a body shot, then come up top, whatever I like. As long as after that last punch, boom, I get ready to react and throw. Again, because you're being on the inside, defense is tight, I can position myself how I want as the punches are coming and get ready to throw the shot that I want. So you have a few more options that way in terms of feel, in terms of being in close, throwing on the same side, so you don't have to worry as much about being open for another shot, and having the body so close to you that's not like you're reaching far out for it. If you have a partner, you would work a drill where they would throw a couple punches, and whatever the last punch is, boom, you would just touch them to the body and cover, or you could go pop up top and to the body. If not, you're working this on the bag in shadow boxing, you got to use visualization, use your imagination. You see them, you're on the inside, you feel those two shots, let's say left hook, right hook, or left hook, right uppercut, boom, boom, and then you can work the body shot out of that. But just so you know that working counters on the inside, the body shot is a little bit more there for you, especially if you can get that quick reaction off of countering from the same side. Alright, so often the taller opponent against the shorter opponent is not throwing a lot of body shots, and I've seen this, and it's a big mistake because often the shorter opponent isn't used to dealing with body shots, so their body's not conditioned. It's still a great opportunity to land them. You just have to time the distance right and make sure you don't get caught with counters. Especially because against the shorter opponent, you can reach, boom, without having to do too much. You can reach, and then you can step out and clear distance, or you can reach, you have the range, boom, and you can cover. So the first thing is maximize your reach and step out on the angle. Here I throw, boom, boom, and then I can cover. Or here I throw, boom. I don't have to worry about getting as low if the arms can reach and do the job. I can still get low here, boom, but I don't have to get as low to get my hand to reach, because you're going to have the reach advantage often over the shorter opponent. So try to work in that throw and pull, or create the angle to make sure you're safe after opening yourself up throwing body shots. But the other more common situation is when the shorter fighter pressure's up against you, and often they're right up underneath you, and it's hard for a taller fighter to deal with. They're often trying to clinch or get away, but there are other options for that. Here, this is often the situation. The shorter fighter is right up underneath you like this. This is an exaggeration, but I'm going to use this bob to work it. Here, they're right up in. You really can't get the leverage to get anything off. You're blocking, and they're here. Look at all that space they have to throw body shots. So typically, what you really have to do is a couple things. First, you have to get your head off the center line, and that comes from this type of motion. Here, this sway back. You're in your position. You can sway it back to create space, and then you get down and under. Back to create space, and down and under. And that's going to give you the room to land body shots, and trust me, they're very effective against a relentless, shorter opponent. They think they belong on the inside, so they're not going anywhere. That's your chance to create a little bit of space and land those shots. They're going to be there for you. So as my opponent is up against me here, I want to get away and dip. And that's going to create that space. They're up in my face like this. I get away and dip. I just want to get my head out of here. And then here's the body shot. Boom. Then it's available for me. So it's almost like a little bit of a rope-a-dope or a lean back to create space, but then to come back in on the side. If they're here up against me this way, I have my guard up. I'm going to dip away and down. Boom. And then the body shot is there. Of course, you'll be in your position. The motion is going to look more like so. You'll be here or here, and then you sway and dip. Sway and dip. Body shot. Sway and dip. Body shot. What's also going to help with that is if you take a step out right or left, especially if you're back against the ropes, you're still going to go sideways, and they won't be able to stop you because it'll just be a small weighted step. So here they're up against you, you get away, you dip and take a little step, and that gives you more room here. Boom. It also gives you room up the middle with the uppercut, like so. If I dip to the right, I sway back, I step to the right, and then from here, body shot. Uppercut as well up the middle. So here, if I go, I sway, I step sideways. Boom. They're up against me right up underneath. I sway back, dip, and fall. I got room. Boom, boom, like so. So you got to use that motion and step and step. And again, then once you're done, you work those body shots. Here, step, boom, you're off to one side. Then you can use that to continue on exiting out. It's going to help you deal with the pressure fighter who's definitely going to be there backing you up, but you're able to work off those angles to land body shots. So in this section, we're going to go over a little bit about landing body shots on a southpaw. And I've angled this bob just a little bit with the right side forward just to sort of give it a little example. Some of the problems are when you're throwing that left shovel hook to the body, this is going to be a bit tight, it's going to be too close to you. You're going to have a hard time getting around to the outside with the right, so that's not going to be available to you as well. So more often the stuff comes up the middle, or you're going on the left side while taking a step to the outside. And there's another third option as well. So one of the first things is that when you're coming in with that straight jab, if you're coming down with a straight jab, often they're going to jab you over top. So you got to be cautious with that. Unless you really have jab dominance, it's going to be very hard for you to get underneath. Southpaws are usually used to that. So that's just one thing that I would say not to go to unless you really have an excellent jab and an established jab dominance. Then you start playing around, then pop. You can start to pop that jab low. What I typically like to do against a southpaw, not only does this often land a body shot, but it gets me on the inside if I need to be, is I'm going to throw up top light while I step outside. Boom. And then here, this is nice and ready for me. Boom. And then often from there I can turn out, or after I land that, I'll come across. And then I go from the outside to the inside. So this body shot isn't really going to be the deadliest shot, but it just allows me to land something. The southpaw is usually quick on the jab counter, so as soon as you throw, something's often coming back at you. So you're there, touch, and then go, boom, and then come across. And then you can continue to throw and work. The second idea that I like against the southpaw is the lead straight right, which is almost going to become your new jab when you're against the southpaw. Again, you have to watch for their counter left coming down at you, but usually that's not a problem if you're not turning with a left hook and going into it. If you're quick enough, usually you can throw it and get it off. So here it's a quick right hand. What I'm basically going to try to do is step to the outside and throw it straight, and then I can go like so. Or if I want to throw it quick, here I'll throw it and then get underneath and go underneath any potential counter lefts. You might want to disguise it with something quick up top. Again, the whole key of disguising it is so that left hand of theirs doesn't come barreling down on you as you're coming in. So here are a couple options. Again, touch, and I come to the outside. Boom, I throw the right. Or here, I throw the right straight. Down low, turn, and continue to work. Or I throw the right, and then I get it to the side. The right hook works really well, but you're not going to try to get it around the outside. You're actually going to just bring it across the solar plexus up the middle. Here, right hook, boom. Dig it into that angle that is given to you by the southpaw. I won't throw the jab so you can see it better. I just keep my hand down so you can see it. Here I step in, boom, and just dig it flat right through the guard, right at the center. One boxer that uses this a lot is Rigondeaux. He uses it in a southpaw against the orthodox, coming with his left. So you're going to work it the other way, boom. And of course, again, if you are a southpaw, you can work these same concepts against the orthodox. Now, it's very hard to get around here to access this part of the body, but if you're on the inside, then things change. So when you work and find yourself on the inside, you can easily take this pivot, or you can easily take this step here, and then you have different options. So you can throw and step on the left, boom, that also is going to get you outside their left hand. Or if you're on the inside working, you dip and pivot, and that's going to get you on the inside, but that's going to be more footwork to get you around to that side. That's a little bit more of a footwork issue than it is a body shots issue. But if you can work it here, 2, 3, taking that step, that'll get you over to that side. Or if you're working here, you throw that left, you dip with a little step, pivot, and then restart your attack, especially if you're on the inside. Boom, 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 and restart your attack. So with southpaws, a few different tactics that you can use. Going up top, getting to the outside, really quick. Throwing a straight lead down to the body with stepping out. Throwing the straight lead, going out to the right side. Throwing the hook, boom, flat. Or if you're working on the inside, step so that you can access this side of the body. It's a little bit of footwork involved, but that's going to give you more options when up against the southpaw. So one of the most effective ways to use body attacks is to cut off the ring. Now that plays into a little bit of footwork, cutting off the ring in general, ring generalship. But so we're going to cover a section of it right here. In general, when you are trying to cut off the ring, you are working a diamond pattern in the ring. But essentially, let's say from the midpoint of the ropes to the midpoint of the ropes, you are going straight across, following straight across. So generally, I'm working straight, and I want to get here, or I want to get here, as opposed to following my opponent around the ring. This is what I don't want to do. So when cutting off the ring, often I'm going to meet them at those points. My opponent is typically doing this. They're here, moving freely. These are the moment of truth points. Often this is where the exchange is going to happen. Or they're moving here in between. If they try to get away, let's say they're trying to avoid me, they might accelerate right through here. And this is where I got to be quick enough to try to catch them. Same thing on the other side here. They're going to go, if they don't switch back, if they continue, they're going to accelerate right through that meeting point. So what I want to do is I want to time them and at least catch them with a body shot. They're not going to get away for free. So here I am in the middle of the ring. The opponent is working the perimeter. If they decide to go one way, what I want to do is meet them and catch them with a body shot. So the footwork to that is sort of like a little skip and step with a dip. Here, let me just break it down easy. As I'm moving from here, I'm moving, skip and dip low. And then I can work that body shot here. If they're going to their right, my left. I can also work it off a jab. So let's say I'm here, I'm moving around, here, I jab and step. Boom. So simply enough, jab and step out at the same time, body shot. And so that's how I'm going to catch them. As they accelerate, I accelerate by going from this type of footwork to this. It's sort of a quicker little gallop and dip. Boom. This ring's a little bit small, so in a large ring, you would really see the impact of this. But generally, I'm going to go here, jab, and then I'm going to catch them with the body shot as they go. As they accelerate, I want to step outside of them, boom, and time them as they go through. If they're going to accelerate at the left, then what I'm going to do is a similar idea. It's a little bit harder, but I'm going to work the right hook. They're going this way, I turn, I'm facing them, and then I'm going to skip, jab, right hook. So simply enough, they're going this way, and then I'm going to go with that little skip. If I break it down, here, I skip, jab, boom, right hook. All I basically want to do is accelerate. Here, and I'm going to work the right hook as they accelerate out that way. But it all comes down to being able to pick up the speed of your footwork to this little skip, or this way, the little skip, to be able to cut them off. As they accelerate through, I can put the jab, boom, hook to the body as they go through. Here, step outside, boom. Now the opponent who's working the perimeter has a number of things they can do. They can attack you in advance before they even get to that tight spot to throw you off. They can go in between, they can go back and forth. So the body shot is to either inhibit them, make them switch directions so that you can cut them off even tighter, or as they go through, to at least get something, get a piece of them before they go through. So generally you want to speed up with a little skip, get outside, throw that body shot, or here, speed up and then wing the right hook around. These are ways you can use body shots in combination with footwork to slow an opponent down who's working the outside and working the perimeter. I hope you found the information in this video helpful and that it will improve your ability to attack the body, land more body shots, and enhance your boxing overall. And if you're interested in checking out more instructional videos like this, then head on over to my shop at precisionstriking.com. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Peace.